What's up guys, Coach MANdler here, and today what I want to do for you is go through a little bit of a quick, concise programming workshop with you. So what that means is I'm going to be taking you through my exact daily split from Monday all the way to Sunday, and also show you exactly how I structure each and every one of my workouts for a more balanced and organized approach to help you accomplish your goals in strength, conditioning, and overall muscularity so that you look like and perform like the badass warrior that you want to become. Now, with that being said, let me just say this. Number one, I apologize for my handwriting. And two, if you can't read it, and on top of me kind of breaking everything down for you, want a more hard copy of this, what I've done for you is essentially giving you the same structure inside your free copy of the Kettlebell Cardio Blueprint. If you haven't done so already, please make sure you download that. You can get that for free on the link at the very top of the comment section down below, or the first link you see down in the description box. That said, let's get started with what we're going to be talking about with our split and how we structure each workout. All right guys, before we get started in the details of how you put together or organize your daily split, as well as how you structure your daily workouts themselves, I want to encourage you to think about all of your training being movement-based instead of muscle-based. What I mean by that is this. If you've been watching my channel for a while, you know that I encourage you to train movements, not muscles. And what that means is that in order to create more balance and symmetry with how you look as well as how you perform, you have to have a structured, organized approach that hits everything equally from front to back, top to bottom. So there's no imbalances that create a funky aesthetic, making you look weird. All right, so you're just jacked up top and have little pencil legs, but also for performance, you don't have any imbalances that could possibly cause injury. So keep in mind that balance is a big focus with how we want to structure each and every one of our workouts, as well on a grander scale, how we structure our daily splits. That said, with regards to our daily split, what you're going to notice is everything is kind of geared towards upper and lower. I start with lower work, then the next day I'll do upper body work. The next day I'm going to have kind of an option day, depending on my goals as well as how I'm feeling, and then we go right back to the same thing, lower then upper on the weekends, because I like my free time and family time. I have that as kind of like an option day, kind of an active recovery day, or you could call it a bonus day. So keep all that in mind. Focus on balance and intensity, but really make sure that balance is the key component of your training. Otherwise, you create a goofy aesthetic and you create a scenario where your performance is going to suffer and you might actually get hurt as well. That said, let's get started with day number one, Monday. I am a big believer in leading with lower body stuff, and this goes back to my days in powerlifting and strongman, where you go to the gym, and whereas most people think Monday is, International Chest Day, it's going to take forever to wait for a bench. I said, to hell with it. Let's just get to that squat route. So, at a fundamental level, I have always trained lower body and squats specifically on Monday. So, Monday, the first phase of my training is going to be some squat variation. That can be overhead squat. It can be box squat. It can be rack focus, like front squats, offset squats, anchor squats, you name it. Whatever squat variation you want to program that in, and constantly rotate between those different variations, as well as the different reps and weight schemes that you use. That way, you're constantly giving your body something new to adapt to. After that, which is typically, a couple rounds, probably 3 to 4 rounds of straight sets there, I then go into more of my what I call strength cardio or high intensity circuits. Here's how I structure those. I start with a ballistic hip hinge based movement. So that can be some type of swing, it can be a clean, or it can be a snatch. Ultimately something that encourages you to move explosively with hip extension, and then transition from there into a single leg movement All right, I'm a big believer in single leg movements, whether it be a step up variation or a lunge variation, to kind of clear up any imbalances that are caused by doing too much strictly bilateral work with just squats or just deadlifts. That's going to, the single leg work, it's going to kind of encourage that creation of balance and performance as well as aesthetics. So right after that ballistic, do some type of single leg work, whether it be, like I said, step up or lunge. And again, constantly change the position you're loading the weight in to give your body a new adaptation or a new demand to adapt to. And finishing off the circuit, what we do is some type of simple hinge and or a carry if you have the option with space to do a carry at the end. That is simply a way to kind of extend cumulative time under tension for that circuit, which will help with your strength endurance. It'll help with kind of, if you have a good caloric surplus that you're in, help with building more muscle, and ultimately at the same time get that heart rate up sky high so that you have that nice boost to your metabolism so that you're burning more fat at rest. So that is how we structure a typical day. We have our lead or core movement, which in this case is your squat, and then right after that, after those 3 straight sets where we have maybe 3 minutes of rest in between, we move on to our circuits, which are again, are balanced and high intensity in nature. All right, so that's day 1, Monday. The next day, we're gonna do our first upper body day of the week. And with that, the core movement is going to be a horizontal press variation. So this could be some type of incline bench, flat bench, decline bench, or floor press variation that ultimately follows that horizontal press pattern. And again, probably 3 to 4 sets of this, just straight set work. Couple minutes in between there, and then move on to your strength circuits. From here, what I like to do is I always like to do with the circuits on my upper body days, some type of push, pull, hinge movement pattern based variation. So what that's going to look like, especially on, let's say, Tuesday, where I have horizontal press as my lead core movement, I'm then going to switch into a vertical press push, pull, hinge. That means I'm going to do some type of vertical press, so some type of push press, jerk, strict press, Z press, alternating, you name it. There's different ways to do an overhead press variation. I'm going to lead with that, then balance that out with some type of vertical pull. In this case, you can do a pull up, a chin up, pull down, some type of vertical pull to oppose that vertical press that you just did. And then again, that extension set work to extend that cumulative time under tension. Some type of hinge variation like a simple deadlift. And then if you have the space, do some type of carry variation. All right. Next day is Wednesday, and that's what I like to call my option days. A lot goes into me figuring out what I'm going to do here. First is going to be contingent upon the goals that I have at that point in time. If I'm trying to really get cut up, really lean up in this time, even if I'm a little sore, I'm going to prioritize some type of conditioning. I'm going to go on a nice walk. I'm going to go on a bike ride. Maybe even swim if the weather's nice. Do some light sled drags, some carry variations, something to get my heart rate up that won't necessarily beat me to shit if I am still pretty sore from the prior 2 days of work. The other options might be, doing some strongman medleys if you're not too sore and can accept that degree of stress that you placed your body under by doing those types of high demand, high intensity workouts. You can do total body work like thrusters. Big fan of cleans and thrusters. So you can lead with that type of movement and then finish up with some type of carry. Or you can just do some simple active recovery work. That might be going on a nice 30 to 45 minute walk and following that up with some mobility work on areas that need some TLC because they're tight from the prior day's training. All right, so that's going to be the middle of the week, that option day, okay? On to the next day. This is going to be our second lower body focused day of the week. If our first lower body focused day of the week, we do a squat variation, I then like to follow it up with a deadlift variation. This could be banded deadlifts, it could be deficit deadlifts, whatever you want. It's got to be some type of deadlift variation to make sure that you're balancing your movements out, all right? So after doing probably 3 or 4 sets, like I said, of this deadlift variation, couple minutes in between to recover, we're then gonna move on to our strength circuits. In this case, again, we're gonna lead off with some type of ballistic hip hinge movement. So let's say if Monday you did some type of swing variation, maybe you can do a clean or a snatch variation to kind of constantly give your body something new to adapt to, all right? That's gonna be a constant theme with training. You always wanna give your body something new to adapt to so you constantly improve your strength and performance as well as your aesthetics. After that ballistic hip hinge movement, we're then gonna do a single leg movement. Now, again, to balance things out, to give your body something new to adapt to, if Monday we did a lunge variation, next on today's work, we're gonna do maybe a step up variation, okay? Constantly giving your body something new to adapt to. You're gonna get tired of me saying that, but it is so important that you focus on that with how you program. After that, again, more extension work. We're gonna do a simple hinge. That might be just a simple single kettlebell deadlift, nothing crazy, just a good way to extend cumulative time under tension for more work capacity, more of the ability to, if you want to build muscle and have that good caloric surplus, ability to kind of build lean mass. And again, if you have the space, finish it all up with a carry variation. With all these carries, again, constantly mix them up. You have multiple different positions that you can load weight on and do different carry variations with. You can do waiters walks, you can do rack carries, you can do farmers walks, you can do them in imbalanced nature, you can do them offset. Multiple ways to do carries and different weights to do them in, so constantly mix them up. On to Friday, our last day of the week, or my typical last day of the week where I'm getting after it with weights. And this is going to be our second upper body day of the week. And again, to balance things out, if Tuesday, our first upper body day of the week, was dedicated to the core movement of a horizontal press variation, we're then gonna do a vertical press variation. That means some type of offset, clean, and overhead press. You can do a military press. You can do Z press. There's a million different ways to do vertical press variations. Pick out which one you want to do. Mix up the weights to constantly give your body something to adapt to, and just knock out 3 to 4 sets of that, a couple minutes in between, and afterwards move on to your strength circuits. Again, kind of flipping the script here. On Tuesday, our first upper body day of the week, we follow that horizontal press with a vertical push-pull hinge. Now we're doing a vertical press as our core movement, so we're going to flip it and do a horizontal push-pull hinge. That means we're gonna lead off the push-pull hinge with some type of horizontal press variation. That can be a floor press, incline press, flat bench press. You can even do a decline bench press. Whatever it is, make sure you constantly vary it with different weights, different rep schemes, and different ways that you're loading the weights themselves. Just make sure that it's a horizontal press variation and constantly vary them throughout the following weeks. Afterwards, to balance it out, we're then doing a pull. So you see, there's balance in the movements and the stress that we're placing our body under. After that press, that means that horizontal pull. So a simple row variation. It can be an inverted row if you don't want to actually lift. It can be kettlebell pause rows. It can be a barbell row. Whatever it is, make sure it is a horizontal pull. Afterwards, again, more of the same, extension work. What I mean by that is you're just extending the cumulative time under tension that you're placing on the musculature of your upper body. And that's gonna be simple hinge work via just a deadlift. And again, if you have space, more carries. Love carries. It's a very simple way to extend any set for more strength endurance as well as muscularity gains. So finish up with that. That brings us to the weekend, which in my mind, a lot of times I just go on a nice walk or just kind of spend a lot of time chasing around my kid just to kind of stay active and have that focus as like active recovery. But you can also treat this as a makeup day if you miss one of these days of the week. So this can be either a makeup day or a dedicated active recovery day. By active recovery, I mean just by the end of the week, you're gonna be a little beat up and sore. It's inevitable. So when that's the case, don't overdo it because it's just not worth it, all right? You don't wanna risk injury, you don't wanna risk overtraining, so stick with very light active recovery work. Go on a quick 30 to 45 minute walk with family or friends. Go on a quick bike ride, same thing. Do light carries to get your body to where the blood is flowing, and matched with good, proper nutrition, you're sending quality nutrients to help facilitate faster recovery from that. Make sure to sleep well and kind of hydrate up as well. So the other thing, maybe some light sled drags, and definitely, especially if you're tight, try to do some mobility work. I stress mobility work, not stretching, because whenever I talk stretching, people automatically think it's just static stretching where you're taking, something to the range of motion and stopping there. I'm not a huge fan of that. I like mobility work. So there you go. Real simple, Monday through Sunday. When it comes to your programming, when it comes to your split and your daily workouts, focus on balance. And I promise, when you break it down to this simple, scientific, organized approach, it's amazing how quickly you're going to see rapid improvements in how you look as well as how you perform. Just remember that balance and intensity, and constantly vary the different exercises that you're doing along with the weight and rep schemes. And again, you're going to see rapid improvements in how you look and how you perform.
Hey man, thank you so much for checking out today's video. If you enjoyed it and want me to share more like it that help to inspire new training ideas, then do me a solid and hit the thumbs up button so I know you're digging the content I'm sharing with you. Subscribe and hit the alert icon so you get notified the instant that I drop new workouts every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And lastly, don't leave without first grabbing your free copy of the Kettlebell Cardio Blueprint that I put together for you by clicking on either the image that you see right over there to the right or the pin link at the very top of the comment section down below. Appreciate your time, guys. Have a good one. MANdler